Thank you for joining us today. I'm Delegate Carr, and I represent Virginia's 78th District in Richmond. In my lifetime, I've watched women's reproductive freedoms come under repeated attack. Most recently, right here in Virginia, just this year, we saw that our Lieutenant Governor, Winsome Earl Sears, felt compelled to leave a note on the constitutional amendment we passed protecting reproductive freedom in Virginia, including contraception, abortion, and IVF. She wrote, "I am morally opposed to this bill." Moreover, she voted against the Right to Contraception Act, legislation to ensure that every Virginian has the right to access contraception and birth control, and has said that protecting access to birth control is pushing a political agenda. And that's not all. Sears has said she supports an extreme 6-week abortion ban and that she would do everything in her power to end abortion in Virginia. And she has said she is standing shoulder to shoulder in the fight against IVF. Her priorities are crystal clear: against abortion, against contraception, against fertility treatments. And so is the contrast. While Winsome Earl Sears wants to roll back our rights, Abigail Spanberger will fight to protect access to contraception and reproductive care so that every Virginian can access the care they need and their health care decisions can stay between them and their doctors, not with politicians in Richmond. Now we will hear from my esteemed colleague, Delegate Ray Cousins.
Thank you, Delegate Carr. My name is Ray Cousins. I represent the 79th District in the Virginia House of Delegates. One of my priorities has always been and will always be protecting our reproductive freedom, especially as Republicans like Winsome Earl Sears attack our rights. As Delegate Carr mentioned, Winsome Earl Sears went so far as to write out that she is, quote, morally opposed to protecting reproductive freedom on the constitutional amendment that we passed that would enshrine the right to contraception, IVF, and reproductive care. And as a delegate, I can tell you how unusual it is that an official would leave a personal note on a bill or constitutional amendment in the first place. Of course, when she was asked about the note by a reporter, she had no comment. While the note makes it crystal clear that Sears opposes the most basic reproductive rights, she already has a long, extreme, and dangerous record on this issue. She couldn't resist blocking the Right to Contraception Act and leaving the door open to extreme restrictions on birth control and contraception. While she spent weeks dodging the media and refusing to share why she voted against it, she's finally said she believes protecting access to birth control is, quote, pushing a political agenda. Let's be clear. Women having access to the health care they need should not be political. This handwritten note is just another reminder that Sears is wildly out of step with Virginians on this issue, and that she would roll back reproductive rights if she reaches the governor's mansion, where she'll have extensive power to make these decisions. Sears would unleash extreme restrictions on reproductive care and insert politicians into conversations between women and their doctors. It would be detrimental to the health of women across the Commonwealth and set back women's rights, and we cannot let that happen. Virginians deserve a leader who will fight for them and who will protect our rights instead of gutting them. It's why I'm supporting Abigail Spanberger, who has made it clear that she will fight for our rights. And now I'd like to pass it over to Ray Pickett, Comms Director with Planned Parenthood.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Delegate Cousins. My name is Ray Pickett. I'm the Communications Director for Planned Parenthood Advocates of Virginia. As we've seen attacks on reproductive rights across the country, leaders in Virginia have worked to try to protect reproductive freedom in the Commonwealth. Right now, Virginia is the only place in the South that has yet to pass new restrictions on abortion since Roe was overturned. Like we've seen in so many other places, that progress can quickly be threatened and lost, especially when Republicans have the opportunity. It's why This is why it is so concerning that Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earle-Sears, who is running to be the governor of Virginia, in her own words, is morally opposed to protecting reproductive freedom. It means she's morally opposed to protecting access to birth control and contraception, and that she's morally opposed to protecting our right to make our own decisions about our own bodies with our doctors without interference from politicians. It also means she's morally opposed to protecting Virginians' access to fertility treatments like IVF that can be crucial to help grow their families. And if she becomes governor, she would have ample opportunity and power to enact her extreme agenda, and that would be outright harmful to Virginians. The Virginia Mercury even wrote that the next governor will be able to sign potential attempts to restrict or ban abortions within state code. If that's Earle-Sears, her record indicates banning abortion and access to birth control, and IVF is exactly what she would do. In fact, Lieutenant Governor Earle-Sears has proudly proclaimed she is standing shoulder to shoulder with a hate group perpetuating an extreme political agenda. Their shared goal is to make it harder for Virginians to get married, vote, build a family through IVF, and make decisions about their bodies. She has been clear that she supports extreme abortion bans and will do anything in her power to end abortion in Virginia. And earlier this year, she voted against the Right to Contraception Act. To be clear, we know if she has the chance, Winsome Earle-Sears would take extreme action to restrict access to health care for Virginians. And as we see more and more attacks on reproductive rights here in Virginia and across the country, it is especially important that we have leaders who will stand up for our rights. Virginians deserve that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth McIntyre. I am a lifelong Virginian and a mother, and I am here today to share my story, the stories of women in my life, and the impact the access to reproductive care can have. By the time I graduated from high school, I already had several friends who had given birth following unplanned pregnancies. One friend gave her child up for adoption, and while it meant that the future she didn't envision for herself remained intact, she dealt with the emotional effects every day. Another friend had to drop out of high school because at 18, being a single mom and a student was an impossible balance. While they made the best decisions for themselves, their stories stayed with me. When my housemate was assaulted, access to emergency contraception meant that she could focus on healing instead of worrying about an unplanned pregnancy. Years later, when my husband and I were ready to start our own family, I found myself among the 25% of women who experience a miscarriage. I am forever thankful that I had access to medical care and emotional support to move through the traumatic experience without the trauma of extreme and restrictive laws that prevent women suffering from a miscarriage from accessing care in other states. These are stories that women across Virginia share, and they are a reminder of the importance of access to reproductive care. It's why it's so concerning to me that Winsome Earle-Sears is, quote, morally opposed to protecting reproductive freedom. Her extreme record and her extreme agenda, from supporting extreme abortion bans, is standing against IVF. It reminds us that if she had the chance, she would enact restrictions on reproductive care that are out of step with Virginians. We deserve a leader like Abigail Spanberger who will fight to protect our right to contraception and reproductive care. In 2023, my husband and I welcomed our daughter into the world, and I believe firmly that it is my responsibility as her mother to fight for a better future where she has more reproductive freedom than previous generations, not fewer. Or less, excuse me, oh goodness. That's why I'm supporting Abigail Spanberger this November, to make sure Virginia has a leader who will fight for us and protect our rights instead of rolling them back. Thank you so much.